Good day and welcome to a new video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Heyo, welcome to a new video. Today I'm joined with Mozakade. And you can see his work at deviantart.com/Mozakade. He's still there? Yeah, he's here somewhere.
Yeah, I'm here, sorry.
That's all good, that's all good. Yeah, so this is me painting a new page for my book. Yeah, it's page 4 so far, I think. It's going good, going good. What have you been up to? I think you were in a stream a few months back.
I guess I've just really been finishing up this past semester of school. For the most part, I'm done now. This was my last week, so I'm happy for that. That's mostly what I've been doing, that and just doing my own thing with art, I guess.
Awesome. Yeah, is it your last year or is it
Oh no,
first year?
it's not. I have I'm gonna say like a year and a half maybe left, something like
Oh
that.
yeah,
Like
yeah. Mm.
because when I transferred and changed my major, a lot of my classwork didn't transfer for this major, it didn't count. So it's kind of like it
Mm.
threw me back. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I hasn't really happened to me, but lots of people go through that kind of thing where they either change courses or their courses don't go as well, like they don't pass something in their course, and yeah, it sets them back a little bit, but it's alright, you get through it, and mm, you're
yeah,
you're you're enjoying it.
I'll make
Mm.
it. Yeah.
You're enjoying it. That's the main thing.
Do it.
Yeah, you enjoying it.
Uh, I guess somewhat. I haven't really taken any core classes yet. Because
Mm.
at the university I'm at, they require you have to have an art minor to be an animation major.
Mm.
So a lot of the stuff I've had to do first is to take so many art classes, which they're really foundation. So
Mm.
they're kind of useless to me. But I have to take them. That
Yeah.
they're like really really basic. So,
Yeah.
but I'm forced to take them. So it's
Yeah.
kind of that probably put me behind too to like have to take these classes. But
Yep.
it's just required.
Yeah, I had that in my course. There was a lot of classes that I was like, I already know this, but it 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 does help, I reckon. It reinforces those things. I found them good to go through the fundamentals again. I did a 2-year course, which we went through, all the design fundamentals, all the we did drawing, where we learned the drawing fundamentals and that kind of thing, and then and then we had to do it again. When I transferred school, I had to the Wanganui one. I had to do it again the whole first year. It was pretty much the same stuff. It was learning all the fundamentals again. Um, so it was pretty much samey stuff, but I got to use it and change it towards what I wanted to do because we had briefs that we had to
Yeah.
do. Um, and those briefs were, um, I mean, they were strictish. Like at the start they were, you have to do this and you have to do it in Photoshop, or you have to do this and you have to create it in this program. Um, but as time went by, there were more and more like limit. Oh, well, there were less limitations. Um, as well as we kept on going on, actually. So it became more interesting as we went along. But I mean, the starting of that first year, we had a lot of yeah, quite structured stuff, like saying you have to use this program, or you have to make it out of photos that you take. Um, those kind of limitations that they gave us, but eventually those got taken away, and um, I could change the medium that I wanted to use. Like I really loved pencil back when I was doing that, so I was like every project I got that I could do it, I would do a pencil drawing. Um, yeah, and I think every opportunity um, really grew me stronger on it.
I can understand like why sometimes though they get you to take, it's kind of, I guess, to teach maybe discipline and maybe to experiment more, maybe is what you
Mm,
try to get out of it. I'm not really sure. I don't think it translated in the same way to me as it did like starting student
mm.
that have just come into university. Uh, but I don't know. I guess it is interesting though when you're like given a strict rule that you have to follow.
Yeah, it definitely, I think yeah, it's discipline. And hey, are people that are watching this either live, or are watching this on YouTube after it's been done. Um, yeah, it does. Well, you gotta like test the boundary sometimes, I think, because when you're starting off, you're just learning, the fundamentals. You just, um, well, definitely in course, it's very, if you're self-learning things, um, there's not as much guidance. You can just you can just go away and learn whatever you want
Yeah,
in whatever order you want. Um, I feel that um, can be a downside to doing like self learning. Um, but also upside because you can focus on what you want to do. Like for the first year after course, I felt like I learned way more in that year than I did um, at like my 3 years at course. It was like, oh my gosh, um, which was interesting. I decided do a schoolism course. I did a schoolism course, and I'm still on it. I'm still doing schoolism courses. Um, but I mean, I don't get all the time in the world to do it. I'm doing other things like keeping up with this YouTube, um, and things like that, which keeps me busy. Um, and at the moment I'm on the character design one, so every now and again I'll go back and listen to that, and I might get some interesting advice and tips from the course I'm learning, but it doesn't exactly apply to what I'm painting at the moment. Um, but it's just good to know that stuff. I'm thinking, oh, might as well I should transfer the course and do something more fundamental so that I can be like, oh, you know, this has light and color in this painting here. I'm trying to draw a nighttime scene, so I have to mess around with light and color, obviously. So I was thinking, oh, I should transfer a light and color course that might help me out when I'm painting these kind of things. But yeah, definitely.
so in your
Hmm, say what you gonna say. So I'll get Mozakade back on. I think he's coming back. Hiya. Yeah,
Are you
so
there? I think
oh,
you cut out for a second.
yeah, you cut out for a second. What were you asking?
Kind of went quiet. For,
Yeah.
it got like real quiet, and I didn't
Mm.
know if it had turned off or not.
Were you gonna ask something?
Uh, I was trying to ask. In your picture, are those supposed to be a solar light?
Yeah, I was going for yeah, garden solar lights kind of a thing. Um,
Okay, that's a neat idea.
mm, I feel. I mean, looking at it now, obviously, I'm like, oh, there's so much I could go back and fix. Um, but yeah, the main thing is getting it started. This book is, it's 13 pages or something.
So what is it about?
So this book that I'm creating is about a little hedgehog who loves kiwi fruit. So he follows his nose to follow the kiwi fruit to eat the kiwi fruit, but there's a cat in the way. So he comes up with a plan to try and get away from the cat and to get his kiwi fruit. I mean, in this scene, he's only just meeting the cat. He's just realised there's a cat there, and he's, scared that there's a cat in his way. So, his first instant shock of seeing this cat, and it was very challenging because giving animals emotions can be a really, really challenging thing with keeping their anatomy. You don't want to, although these characters, you can only push it so far with keeping with the character.
Yeah.
So
I know what you mean.
it's definitely a challenging thing, but so that's one thing that me actually sticking with the character design course is helping. He's going through creating poses and expression and all that stuff, which is I think is helping in this sense. But I feel like some of my light and color might be lacking as well. So it's like, yeah. But I can't go for perfection. But I'll probably end up when I get to page 14. I'll probably end up just doing like little tweaks on each page until it's fully polished. Awesome. So lately I haven't been doing like me jotting down a lot of questions lately in my book, because I mentioned like probably heaps of streams ago, like a long time ago, I mentioned that I have a book where I write my questions down for the artists, and I do it for like new artists. So I'm like, I've got to make questions, but a lot of the time when I get artists that have been before, it's like, oh, I'm pretty sweet. I might I could flick through some of the questions that I've had from previous interviews, or I could just like guide this talk, So.
You kind of cut out. I heard half of what you said about questions in your book you wrote down.
Yeah. So each week when I get an artist in, I usually write questions down in my book, and those questions are the ones I usually ask Sometimes though, I have a video that might be somewhat a theme related, like I've had structure that I've talked about, and I also had like color finishes or texture studies. So that makes the questions easier to come up with. And sometimes I have new artists, so I have all these like questions in my mind that I see their art, and I'm like, I want to know this, I want to know that, you know. But lately, I haven't been putting down a lot of questions because I've got so many in this book that I could flick through and be like, oh, I want to ask this question now, um, or just guide on what either I'm painting or we're just discussing something, you know. I think he disconnected. I'm gonna try and reconnect with Mozakade. I usually have internet issues every now and again that happen for some reason. So sometimes it's just the internet playing up, me streaming and being on Discord at the same time. It was so bad for
Oh,
one of
yeah.
them. Hey, he's back.
Oh, yeah, like I lost you there in the end.
I was yeah, talking about how sometimes things like this happen. You know, like they'll get disconnected. I got one when I was doing one with, I think it was Max Troponov. um, you know, his
You're
connection.
still cutting out like your voice. I can't hear quite what you're saying.
Okay. Um, yeah, unfortunately, I'll see what I can do about that. But these things happen, you know. Try another area. I'm using Discord for these calls, and yeah, and obviously, you know, um, they're from another side of the world, so you know the connection can get lost every now and again. But you know, I make my best with these connections. I'm losing connection here pretty much. Most of the Twitch stream seems to be going bad. Um, but yeah, these things happen. Um, but usually I'm trying to usually stream to Twitch and then put it onto YouTube because it's easier that way. Um, but yeah, I excuse me. Um, but I may have to record this. Oop, he's gone.
The combo I really heard from you.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I was saying that I do write down questions in my book each week, and you know those questions I come up with as an artist. You know, like I see people's art, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, they're so good, and so I see them and I question some things. You know, I usually want to know. First of all, you know, I want to know who they are usually, and they have to be doing it for long, or they're just, you know, got good out of, you know, out of high school or something. Yeah, and I've filled my book pretty much from, well, not from back to back, but I filled it from, you know, each page, but now I'm going, you know, backwards and reverse, so I'm filling the backs of each page. Um, yeah, and you know, it's pretty cool because I can go back and ask questions that I've asked other artists, Like one I did ask a couple of weeks back, um, to one artist is like if they if they spend more time preparing than they do actually illustrating, um, which is an interesting topic because there's one artist that I've heard of was on a painting on Bobby Cheel's wall. I can't remember his name. He was talking about though how he, uh, the artist that did it, he would have spent like 2-3 hours preparing for it, or a bit longer or something. But it only took him like 5 minutes to actually do the thing. Actually do the final painting. Which it's very interesting. I think it's a watercolor artist. I'm pretty sure. Which is like really surprising because a lot of artists like they see that the most amount of time should be in actually doing the thing sometimes. Which I mean for
That
me,
is a painter.
mm, yeah, he's a painter, so um, it can be different, like, but it's just interesting to know other people's process. It takes a few hours and then less time actually doing the thing. Um,
Mm.
and sometimes I feel like I can get like that too. It's like I spend more time practicing and learning towards getting the final product, and then the actual final drawing only takes like a few hours here and there. It's I record these, and the actual recording time in like me actually painting, so putting pencil to paper, actually doing the thing, is about 3 hours per painting. Apparently that's what I record. And I get surprised at that because I spent like 2-3 weeks on it, and it's like I've only done 3 hours, like, but yeah, I feel like there's all that time like preparing. I've got to find the imagery for the painting, or my reference that I need, and then I've got to figure out different things like for this drawing, so for the hedgehog and the cat drawing, I did them at work one day at lunch while I was having a break. So that's what you see me doing at the start, is actually you see a recording of me actually taking the drawn picture and putting it into Photoshop. I mean, that drawing really was kind of a spontaneous time. It was like I've got some time here, and I was like, oh, let's attempt to draw page 4 again, and I did it, and it worked out quite well. It was the characters stayed quite good, and I feel that makes it
So
more.
do you,
Sorry.
I was gonna say, so do you do that with a lot of your drawings, where you'll draw it and then just scan it into Photoshop, or do you actually draw things out in Photoshop more
Um,
versus paper?
Usually, I would draw the ideas on paper first. Um, there are times where I have started paintings in Photoshop, just from drawing in Photoshop, but usually, yeah, I do work on paper first. Um, I've always been like a traditional drawer. Um, and it just there's something about that process of drawing on paper that I like versus um, drawing on the computer. I feel you're more tempted to use Control Z and erase when you're on. For me, when you're actually on Photoshop, if you draw it, you're more likely to keep tweaking it until it's actually like really really good. Um, let's say more realistic. Whereas for me, for drawing on paper, I'm I I'm not trying to get it as realistic as possible. I'm just trying to get the idea out of what this cat, this scary looking cat, because this is like, well, you see him the first time sleeping, but this is the first time you actually kind of meet his personality, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
He's this scary old cat that's this hedgehog does not want to mess with. So yeah, it's the first time I'm portraying this character. You see him sleeping, but showing someone sleeping doesn't exactly show their personality, or tell what character, unless you're someone like of Pokemon Snorlax. He's always sleeping, and that's his character.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's more spontaneous kind of drawing when I'm doing it in pencil, because I actually don't use erasers at all. Like I'll probably say 2-3 years ago, when for getting final drawings, I don't use erasers when I'm doing a final drawing. If I really need to, I may, but usually what I do is I just draw it again on another piece of paper. I usually have 20 attempts at a drawing before I'm like, oh, okay, I've got this, and go to the final piece of paper. Like, it might be a good piece of paper. Sometimes, yeah, it all depends on what it's for, because sometimes for these kind of things, I don't have to put it on the final good paper. I can just put it on any sketchbook or any piece of paper, as long as it's the drawing's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I usually just take a photo and draw over the photo from there. And I try not to change it a lot when I'm painting as well. I want to keep towards what I drew on the piece of paper,
Mm-hmm.
But it is definitely something I want to try to keep. Trying to say here, try to keep it looking like what I drew in the sketch, because sometimes when I do paint over it and I keep pushing it and pushing it, it loses that that quality I had when I started that drawing. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
there's always something fresh about those sketches. This cat character, he's very scary, and you really see it in the traditional drawing. Now I try and keep that as much as I can in the final painting, as much as I can. And obviously, this is way more editable than traditional. I can go back at any stage, like when I'm finished page 14, and be like, I actually don't like the look of this cat. I'm gonna redraw him. Like I can just re-edit him, um, and it won't just become a mess. As in traditional drawing, um, you can't really, or traditional painting, you can't really do much about it. You might have finished it and sprayed it. You can't, sprayed it with um, a protection or something. So unless you find a way to remove the protection, or um, you know, um,
Yeah.
hmm. Awesome. Have you done a lot of any commissions in the last couple of months, or?
Have I done any commissions? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Have I done commissions? You cut out for just a second.
Yeah, I was wondering if you've done any commissions in the last like few months or year or something.
Um, done a few that I can think of. Not a ton because I'm in school now,
Mm.
so I don't have as much time, and I don't know. I don't feel like I advertise as much as I used to for it
Mm.
anyway. But
Fair enough.
I've done a few.
Mm.
Uh,
That's
I
cool.
did a handful of traditional commissions
Mm.
a few weeks ago, I guess.
Oh.
I've done a few digital.
Mm. Awesome. Well, that's cool, dude. Are they all from like different people?
Yes, they're all from different people.
Mm. That's awesome. Yeah, I haven't really done much work for clients. Done one painting for a book cover. Um, but yeah, I at the moment, I mean, I get to do my own stuff, and I'm like, um, I do, I would enjoy it. I know I really would, like doing things for other people, but I kind of dread it at the same time because it's like, I don't get to do what I want to do. Obviously, um, there's no tell that if the commission I get commissioned for, there's no tell if it might be on YouTube here, or if it's not, like it has to be on the side, which is all good. um, mm. We might find a question from one of my pages in my book. Oh yeah. Oh yes. For one of the questions I asked, um, was what the first thing you do in the morning, maybe. Um, so I'll answer that. So for me, the first thing I do in the morning is obviously wake up. Now, I usually, if I'm at home, is have my breakfast, and then um, halfway through my breakfast, I usually turn my computer on, and then I do my things. Sometimes I might have my daughter to deal with by then. Usually I'm waking up to my daughter at like 6 or 7 a.m, 8 a.m. So she'll wake me up, and then I'll stay asleep till 8 or something. So I mean, I try to get up sometimes. Try and get up before 9 so I can have breakfast, and then I'm here painting by 9. But then, I usually get distracted by emails and all sorts of stuff. So at the moment, I'm trying not to do that anymore. I try to just paint along, deal with some stuff that I might have to do. I might have to do drying, some dishes or something. And then, around about 10:45, ish. That's when I have my coffee now. I used to I used to wake up, have my breakfast and my coffee, and that was more distracting because I would look at emails, then I'd like drink my coffee, do something, and by the time I start, it's already like 10, 11 o'clock. Um, but with this method of me actually having breakfast, getting my computer ready, and then doing a few things here and there, getting some painting done, and then at 10:45ish having my coffee, I feel like that gets a bit more done in the morning. Um, yeah. How about you? What do you do first thing?
I think it depends on what day it is. If it's a work day, of course, I get up and I might eat and go to work. And
Mm,
but the days I don't go to work, I'll usually get up and I usually don't eat breakfast. I'm not really a breakfast person, and I usually like to. Sometimes I'll go get a drink somewhere. Uh, I drink a lot of tea, so
mm,
usually I'll go get a tea somewhere if I don't have any made, and then I'll draw all day on the days that I don't work usually. So
mm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, for the days I do work, I mean, usually I have an early start, or um, but for quite a few weeks, like six, six-ish weeks, I started at 9 a.m., which was pretty good. So for that day, I got up about 7, and then um, about 7:30, I started like painting and doing stuff. Uh, so I try to get at least about an hour in of painting, but it always ended up about 20 minutes. But still, it was something to start my day, and then I would go to work. Um, but usually it's 6 a.m. start or something like that, early in the morning. So it's just like wake up, have breakfast, go to work, and then um, that's sometimes that means I might finish early in the day. Other times it doesn't. But if it didn't mean I wait, if I get back early, I'll be home by 3, 4 o'clock, so I can do maybe an hour, hour and a half before I have tea, and then get some more painting done if I've got time here and there. But yeah, on days off, when I'm painting, I feel that method of having my coffee a little bit later, not like as soon as I wake up, a good method, because it's like I've done an hour and a half of work and now it's break time to have a coffee, and it's just, I feel it's more productive that way for me. And yeah, another thing is the finish of your day. Um, for a few years, or year or two, I think, I didn't do it like every day, but before I went to bed, I did gesture drawing, and obviously I didn't do it every day, every year, um, but some, like, I feel like at least once a week, I would at 9 p.m. That's when I'd be like, I'll finish painting for the day or finish doing my designs, because it's when I was in the art course. Um, I would spend 20 minutes, half an hour doing gesture drawings, and that was my time to do gesture drawings every night, um, which is a good technique. And another thing I used to do also is because I used to have a lot of time at home painting, so I would be like, I'm finished at 5:30. I usually finish about 5:30, somewhere about there, and then I would do sketches. If I'm not cooking tea, sometimes I have to prepare tea. But if I'm not cooking tea, then I'll sit in front of the TV just doing some sketches. Usually straight out of my head, and it'll be for things like this, like maybe paintings or drawings that I would plan, like this. Of maybe in a painting, sometimes I might struggle at something, like drawing this cat. At various points, sometimes I'm like, might draw it again at some point, and I do draw it again, and then I look at that drawing, and then I kind of place it in my mind, and then repaint it in that way. Here I'm like really making him look more angrier, which is interesting.
You gotta show his emotion for the scene.
Yeah, that's the one. Exactly, and I feel like I've made him a bit more scarier than he was in the actual drawing that I did, the first traditional drawing of him. This time round I felt like that the initial sketch wasn't fully there, which is good to work off too, because if I can improve it, that's always a bonus to me. So it's like,
So are you happy that he turned out like more angry than you sketched it, or no?
yeah, definitely a little bit more happier. I felt he turned out well. Yeah. Anything you got to say?
I had a question, but now I forgot it. I should have wrote it down.
Oh no. Oh.
That happens a lot.
That's all good. Maybe you might remember it for another stream or something.
Yeah, or I'll just ask you if I remember it.
Yep, that's the one. Yeah, thanks for everyone for joining me, and thank you, Mozakade, for coming in. I really do appreciate it.
No problem.
You can check out his work at /DeviantArt/Mozakade. And you have a very interesting style. I keep saying you have a very pushed style. One thing I thought was really cool was this cat versus canine thing that you did. I felt that will be helpful for a lot of artists out there that may get into a bit more of drawing animals. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, everyone. Please do check out my other videos. I've had Mozakade in before, so feel free to go check those ones out. And we'll see you in the next stream. Goodbye. Thank you for checking out this video. I really do appreciate it very much. This was pre-recorded, unfortunately, because of the Twitch complications, but I edited it all together and it should be all good. So feel free to like, share, subscribe. You like it, share it around, subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate you guys watching. Thank you. Goodbye.